Welcome to the League of Women Voters of Snohomish County Forum for candidates for the City of Marysville, Council Position 3. I am Nadine Shanti, a member of the League. Thank you for joining us. Let me provide some background on the position. The City or Town Council is the legislative body of city government that establishes city policy, provides direction to the mayor or the city manager, and provides a framework for city administration to respond to community needs. Council members manage basic public services like sewer, water, fire, police, roads, parks, etc. They establish and enforce local laws affecting individuals and businesses, including local taxes, control how land can be used, and again, provide direction to the mayor or the city manager. Candidates do not declare a political party preference. The candidates for Marysville Council Position 3 are Dan Perkins, Amber Cantu, Gary Kemp, David Garrett, and R.J. Whitlow. It is the policy of the League to be nonpartisan, therefore we neither endorse or oppose candidates or parties. The rules for participation in this forum were sent ahead of time to all candidates, and they have agreed to follow them. I will pose the questions and will clearly state the amount of time allowed for each answer. We are using a countdown timer visible to all candidates, and time limits will be strictly enforced. The order for the first question will be Candidate Perkins, Candidate Cantu, Candidate Whitlow, Candidate Garrett, and then Candidate Kemp. I will then alternate candidates in the starting position to ensure a fair sequence. So let's begin. Candidates, you will have 90 seconds to respond to this first question. Candidate Perkins, your question is, what are your top priorities for this office? And please explain why you are focusing on these issues.
You bet. Thank you, Nadine, and appreciate the opportunity that you've created here. I'm a school teacher and a father. That's what I am primarily, and I've spent 30 years teaching, and so there's no way around it. I put children first. It's just a lens through which I make all decisions. I'm going to look at what's best for the children of our community and those that are going to inherit our decisions. So whatever else I say, that's always the case. But in saying that, the growth of our community is what I'm really keeping an eye on, and how that's going to affect its future. And primarily, I'm looking at what is that growth going to do to your safety? And so for me, safety matters. And we need to look at, as the community grows, how does that affect the policies that are in place? How do we need to adjust and move forward to make sure that there is a high level of safety that elevates all members of the community? In addition to that, neighborhoods matter. And as we continue to grow, I think it's important to recognize that our most important interaction with our municipality is the street that we live on. And so it's important for me that as we look at zoning decisions, as we look at anything moving forward, whether it's a budget.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Candidate Cantu, same question.
Public safety is at the top for me. I am a mother of 12. We fostered and adopted a majority of our children. And I just want to say our current leadership has done a great job addressing the safety of our community, keeping our seniors, families, and businesses safe. But I look forward to working as a team, really evaluating where we can improve on the safety issues that we face as a community with just our current challenges with addiction and homelessness and what that looks like and how it's affecting our community. And looking at taxes and how it affects purchasing homes and seniors. I have a heart for seniors. I've always, in some capacity, worked with seniors in my line of work as a family service counselor, also working with hospice and as a caregiver. So, and then really preserving the I would say the vibrancy of our thriving community. Those are my priorities.
Thank you. Candidate Whitlow, same question.
Thank you for concluding me in this. So my top two priorities for office are continuing current city leadership commitment to public safety and quality of life that's come about from sound fiscal policy. Those are my two big ones. Christy and I, my wife, have lived here for over 23 years, and I think we're proud to live in a city that has personal accountability and rule of law, and they're committed to a safe community here. We have a city council and a mayor that has not only stood up for difficult positions, even when our state legislature has not necessarily put forward the same commitment to, and with the state pursuit law, with law enforcement, and then some of the hard drug in public laws, when we had a city council that did step forward and create an ordinance right away that was just meant to continue the safety commitment in the city. And that's a huge deal for me, and I'm all in on that. Also thankful to be in a city that prioritizes investment in infrastructure and transportation and amenities like parks and recreation. And I think that comes from strong leadership and government commitment to sound fiscal policy and balanced budgets. This is a time where balanced budgets aren't necessarily as common as you would think they are. It seems like they're the exception and not the norm. And I think the money that we save from being proactive about all the infrastructure improvements and all the maintenance that we need to do can be used to better our community if we do that properly. So I'm really committed to sound fiscal policy.
Thank you. Candidate Garrett, same question.
Thank you. So my three priorities are neighborhood safety and security, lifestyle, and budgetary discipline. Now, neighborhood safety and security, what that means is everyone needs to be able to feel safe and secure where they live, work, and shop. And so we need to continue on providing that safety and security through law enforcement, as well as active engagement of neighborhood and community groups involved in both youth programs as well as violent reduction outreach. Now, lifestyle, this includes a lot of items, including economic viability, creating new jobs, as well as incentives for construction of new and affordable housing, and most importantly, aggressive traffic management at the city's well-known choke points. Budgetary discipline, I would love to say I want a balanced budget. It's not always possible, as we all know, but we need to be fully transparent to our taxpayers so that they understand our priorities as I've noted them above. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Candidate Kemp, your response.
Thank you, Nadine. Some of my top priorities are public safety, of course, and responsible housing and beautification. Marysville's experienced significant population growth over the past few decades, and with that growth becomes increased demands for our roads, schools, and our first responders. I believe the safety of our neighborhoods must always come first, and police is the cornerstone of a healthy community. A lot of things I want to focus on is responsible housing. We've raised up a generation of renters. We've lost that goal of being able to own a house. That means we need to look at different ways we can do things within the city, like building duplexes and townhomes and ADUs, especially near transit shopping centers, while ensuring we don't overwhelm the existing infrastructure. And beautification is one thing I've always looked at in Marysville. I've grown up in this town. There's a lot of places in Marysville that are very, very desirable, and there's reasons people want to move here and live here. But we also want to bring small businesses, entrepreneurs into this area to stay here and to be able to, have jobs for families so they don't have to commute long distances to different areas.
Thank you. The second question, we're starting with candidate Cantu, and you will all have 90 seconds for this question as well. Candidate Cantu, what qualifications and experience make you a good choice to address these priorities?
Well, I am not a professional politician. I am a public servant. And in every capacity of my life, I serve. And I care about my city deeply. And I'm just committed to serving at this capacity, and I'm willing to learn along the way to see what the constituents need me to be. I'm all in.
Thank you. Candidate Whitlow, your response?
So over the past 10 years, I've been the owner and proprietor of a growing and flourishing small business here in Marysville. Despite the economic challenges from the rising costs of goods and labors, supply chain issues, the ever-increasing tax burdens on small businesses, and some of the economic hardships from all the COVID shutdowns here in the state of Washington, our company has not only survived, but it's substantially grown during this time, and we're very proud of that. And I think the skills that we learned through that, through those challenges, they're invaluable today with the changing economic conditions that we have. And I think that can be directly applicable to helping our city forge ahead. Prior to owning a small business, I was a production manager for large scale events. So I managed large scale planning, budgets, hiring, running large labor crews, coordinating logistics with municipalities, large event venues. But the most important skill I believe that I bring to the table, I'm someone that values people. Relationships are first with me. I have decades of experience of effective building of teams and lasting personal relationships, and that will continue to benefit our community. Whatever worth is doing is worth doing together, is what I think. So thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Garrett, same question.
Thank you. So my three reasons or qualifications is leadership, organizational management, and service first mindset. So leadership, what I mean by that is I am here to listen to the residents about their needs, their challenges, and their concerns. But most importantly, I am wanting to act on those to make sure that we are able to implement solutions that meet those concerns. Organizational management, I am a very active labor member, as well as what would be considered a shop steward. And I've also served on the executive board of my local union as a vice president. And so I've had the fiduciary responsibility overseeing the large budget for our union, as well as the 17,000 members in the Northwest here. And so part of being successful in that position is being able to negotiate, as well as the diplomacy and the bridge building skill to foster consensus. And last, service first mindset. A true responsibility of an elected official is always to seek and improve the lifestyle and lives of its constituents. And I believe the best way to do that is to always serve them with everything I do. Thank you.
Thank you, Candidate Garrett. Candidate Kemp, your response.
Yeah, I've called Marysville home for over 40 plus years. I bring over 24 years of experience as a union electrician, 5 years as a union business representative, where I was in charge of multi-million-dollar budgets and team leadership, and currently as an assistant training director for our apprenticeship. In my professional life, I've been responsible for negotiating large contracts, balancing budgets, dealing with difficult members and contractors, and solving problems under pressure. I understand the value of long-term planning and staying within a budget, especially when resources are tight. Locally, I serve on the Marysville Planning Commission right now for the last 2 years, the Regional Apprenticeship Pathways Board in Marysville, and also on the Marysville Strawberry Festival Committee. I've worked with civic groups, nonprofits, and small businesses. I've learned how to listen carefully and find common ground. I'm a community member who's invested in the future of Marysville, and I'm ready to bring a fresh, independent mindset to city leadership. I believe that thoughtful and balanced leadership, grounded in practical experience, is exactly what we need.
Thank you. Candidate Perkins, same question. You're muted.
Thank you. I'm also a lifetime resident of Marysville, born and raised here, raised my family here, and um, family members buried in the Marysville Cemetery, and plan to spend the rest of my life here. And so I think just being rooted in the community, I would say, is my number one qualification. I think in addition to that, I've spent my life work identifying long-term goals for individuals and helping them to reach those goals. And sometimes it's about helping them to see their own, their own possibilities, sometimes their own opportunity for growth. And I think those are transferable skills. And whether it's a child in my classroom, the family that's supporting that child, or a neighbor, a member of our community, I think those acts work in the same way, trying to find that growth that is proximal development for that individual and for the community as a whole. I think if you talk to anybody that I work with, what they're going to say is that he's a collaborator, which in this position, I think is exactly what you need. There's going to be collaboration between our business community, our neighbors. We got to be looking at every stakeholder involved, and I'm happy to do that.
Thank you. Timer, note that the candidates will have 60 seconds for these next questions, and please adjust the clock. We'll start question number 3 with candidate Whitlow. What measures, if any, would you propose or support to keep housing options affordable in your city?
I believe that there are ways that we can look for different types of housing for entry points. But I think the biggest thing we need to focus on, I think the barrier to entry is cost of housing. And it starts with the pure supply and demand issue. We've never kept up with our housing supply, with the growing population, and with all the things that we have going in this state. But we've also created a situation where I believe that government has made it even more difficult and put up some barriers to effective development. Now, I'm not saying that government doesn't have a place in allocating and helping allocate resources to where they need to go, but we have a group of developers in this state that would love to actually implement more housing supply, but with the amount of barriers that we have in permitting processes, the amount that it takes, the cost of the supplies that have gone up because of different aspects of taxation and fuel costs, and it's just it's a perfect storm.
We're out of time. Thank you. Candidate Garrett, your response, please.
So the city of Marysville alone cannot incentivize nor fund construction of affordable housing. But what can be done is twofold. First, and most importantly, the city should work with every social service agency and charity organization to keep people in the housing they already have. Second, city council members need to proactively work with county and state agencies to elect officials to promote funding wherever and however possible to incentivize developers, both through tax breaks or zoning relief, to set aside a portion of any new housing development for lower income families.
Thank you. Candidate Kemp, same question.
I love this question, being on the planning commission. Actually, stuff we are doing right now as this minute, we're actually doing some zoning reform, allowing duplexes, townhomes with smaller lot sizes where appropriate and where infrastructure can handle it. I do support some local incentives for builders to include affordable options, but as already pre-mentioned, affordable is not really affordable anymore nowadays. I mean, also would work with city council to, cut out these unnecessary delays and fees that are costing these during the permitting process. These end up costing these builders an extra 10 to 20 grand each time they build a house. And to me, that is not affordable. Without sacrificing the safety. We also need to be smart, about where we build, close to schools, jobs, services, so families aren't forced into long commutes just to find something affordable.
Thank you. Candidate Perkins, your response?
Yes, there's so much to talk about here, but I'll just name a few elements. The issues coming along from the state regarding middle housing, there, those changes can be embraced in a way that can benefit the community. It can also be shoved down our throat. And so I think looking ahead at how we engage in middle housing is really important. There are some decisions that we need to make that would guide our use of middle housing to lead to home ownership. There is a growing demand for smaller homes and smaller properties. And if we nudge it in the direction of home ownership of those properties rather than just increasing the rental properties in our community, I think we're moving in the right direction. I don't have enough time to go over too many other things, but keeping taxes low is going to also help put money in the right place to be able to pay for those homes.
Thank you. Candidate Cantu, same question.
As a council member, I would work with our city council and financial director to keep our city in the black. At the end of the day, I will not cut safety and I will not increase taxes.
Thank you. Okay. The next question, we'll start with candidate Garrett. A little bit extra thinking about housing. Besides affordable housing options, as a council member, what measures would you propose to address homelessness in your city?
This is a great question. The problem is that homelessness is most effectively addressed by making sure that people can stay in the house they already have. It means our local economy needs to be strong, the jobs need to be available, and the social services, both public and nonprofit, are fully utilized to assist families in need. A great example of this is the Hardship Fund operated by the Snohomish and Island County Labor Council. I am part of the Labor Council for my local union, and they provide up to $500 for any union families affected by medical, utility bills, layoffs, or other unexpected home repairs. Each year, the council provides thousands of dollars to help dozens of families maintain their households. And every similar program should be supported and publicized by the council.
Thank you. Candidate Kemp, your response.
Homelessness is a complex issue, and there's no one-size-fits-all solution. But I believe we need a firm but compassionate approach. First, we need to invest in treatment and recovery options because a large share of those experiencing chronic homelessness are dealing with mental issues and substance abuse. Simply providing shelter doesn't address the root causes. The city of Marysville mayor has come up with some great programs to solve this. I mean, I support those programs for a pathway to stability, like job training, case management, and transitional housing. But I also believe we have clear rules, and we need to let them know that there is help out there. We need partnerships with county, local nonprofits, and law enforcement to create a system that helps people who want help and sets expectations for those who refuse it.
Thank you. Candidate Perkins, same question.
I agree with much of what's been said, and the things that I would add are we often deal with the effects of homelessness quite late in the process, and I think there's sometimes a handing off that isn't happening For example, there are organizations, including the schools and other organizations that's clearly involved with and aware of those who are experiencing homelessness at a young age. And they quite often become those who experience homelessness as adults. And I think further coordination than we experience now, and a kind of handing off, some mentoring, some kind of leading and guiding, and getting involved early can help us to avoid much of what's coming along as far as homelessness.
Thank you. Candidate Cantu, your thoughts on homelessness?
So I believe that wraparound services are necessary to help people get out of the reckless lifestyle that they're in, and connecting people with services, finding out what services are available in our area, and getting the people connected. And the wraparound services I'm talking about are addressing the whole person, not just getting them a home, but addressing why are they homeless, getting them the help that they need all around so that they can be well-rounded and come back to be successful.
Thank you. Candidate Whitlow, your thoughts?
Once again, I'm thankful to live in a city that already has some things implemented. As Gary mentioned earlier, Mayor Nearing and City Council and city leadership created a really landmark program that is working wonders between law enforcement and embedded social workers to create an assessment tool where we can get people to be able to make a choice for themselves. An initial assessment, if they need the detox and any type of rehab that they need, long-term rehab, which can turn into job training, which can turn into long-term housing. But it comes back down to that personal accountability and decisions. There are a lot of crime that comes from homelessness, and that's the one thing we can't ignore. And without addressing it with that type of direct love and compassion and truth, just having people make a decision, do they want to be helped?
Okay, thank you. Candidate Kemp, what actions, if any, should the city take to address diversity, equity, and inclusion policies and practices? Please explain.
Well, diversity and inclusion are about making sure everyone has a fair opportunity to participate, not checking boxes or pushing political agendas. I support efforts to ensure that the city is hiring in a merit-based and open to all qualified candidates. We should all make sure city services are accessible, especially for seniors, veterans, and people with disabilities. Where DEI efforts make sense, like translating critical materials into multiple languages, or ensuring public meetings are accessible, I definitely support that. Our city should focus on what brings us together: shared values, equal opportunity, and mutual respect.
Thank you. Candidate Perkins, your thoughts?
Yes, I think that just recognizing at the council level that there's some different approaches. In fact, Marysville City Council members they're elected at large, which means they're elected by all of the residents of Marysville. But that also means that if you live in a specific neighborhood or district that is not well represented in your council, you may not have a voice there, or it's a little harder to find who I'm supposed to be talking to specifically, or questioning about how you're representing my neighborhood. And so I'm not saying that we need to go to a district style council necessarily, but I think that council members could possibly divide up the districts within Marysville, and at least be looking more carefully at one district, and be so there's somebody that they can answer to. And possibly auditing, like having a self-audit of advisory boards and committees to make sure that they're representing all members of our community.
Thank you. Candidate Cantu, your thoughts on DEI?
So the city of Marysville is open to anybody and everybody who wants to make this their home. And it's my goal to support anybody and everybody. And I feel like we've done an amazing job at addressing a lot of these policies and practices, and it's home for every walk of life, and I intend to keep it that way.
Thank you. Candidate Whitlow, your response.
I believe that the core of DEI would be inclusion for all, and to allow people to be have access to anything they need. And I think that is a tenet that is lived out with life here in Marysville. This is a community that is loving, accepting. I've seen it full of grace and full of support for people they need. I want to make sure that there still is, as far as the government compartmentalization that can happen, is the box checking and did we hit this, did we hit this, did we hit this? But I don't want to do that at the experience of should be a meritocracy. There's a lot of people that worked very hard to be able to get where they're at, and to have them not be included in a process then actually goes against the premise that DEI was actually initialized for. So that's just something I believe we should be careful about. But really, inclusion and inclusion for all is definitely something I'm behind, and I want to make sure that that is there for everyone in our city.
Thank you. Candidate Garrett, your thoughts on this question?
So one of the most effective ways to promote equity and opportunity is to help young people obtain well-paying jobs. That's why initiatives such as the Regional Apprenticeship Program, the RAP program, which is situated right here at the Marysville Pilchuck High School, can be an important element in making career options available to everyone, no matter their ethnic or racial heritage. DEI, I feel, can be mischaracterized, but in my opinion, it's ensuring that qualified people, regardless of background or ethnicity, get a chance to learn a trade, develop technical skills, and pursue worthwhile and financially secure careers.
Thank you. Candidate Perkins, we'll start with you for this next question. Some of you actually mentioned infrastructure needs. This is an opportunity to go a little bit further. So, Candidate Perkins, what are your ideas for addressing infrastructure needs as your city works to comply with the Growth Management Act requirements?
Yeah, that's a great question, and I think that our comprehensive plan addresses this pretty well. I think one of the things we have to look at when we're looking at infrastructure is that quite often it's not the big the huge plan that's going to address the needs of all of the entire community, certainly not all members of the community equitably. And so looking at the numerous, maybe endless, small needs of every corner of our community is really important. As I've been out talking to members of our community, I quite often hear concerns about smaller things. They're appreciative of a new exit ramp, which we all are, but the potholes in front of their own house are very important as well. And so looking at the needs of every neighborhood and every street.
Thank you. Candidate Cantu, same question. You're muted.
Apologize. I think what I would do is I would learn. I would learn what works well, and what doesn't, and then I would find out what I need to do, and what we as a community can do to implement what will work better. And I think small businesses have a lot to play in that, and so reaching out to my community and learning.
Thank you. Candidate Whitlow, same question.
I believe a lot of the things that are coming down for the growth aspects have already been hitting Marysville for so long. And thankfully, we've had a city leadership group that's been very proactive about making sure that we have a balanced budget and taking care of infrastructure and maintenance projects long ahead before they become an actual reactionary or an emergency problem. And that has been huge for balancing our budgets. I love that we live in a city with a balanced budget. I'm a business owner. I have to balance my budget every single week or I'm just not there. And when I hear about governments that say, well, it might be hard to balance the budget. Well, it's essential we balance a budget or we're not going to be able to exist. So what I love about Marysville is already kind of approaching the fact that we're looking ahead to make sure that we're dealing with the constant growth. We're one of the fastest growing cities in the state. And people will continue to come here because of the quality of life. So if our city leadership continues on that path of being proactive, I think we're going to be in a great state for actually taking care of those maintenance needs.
Thank you. Candidate Garrett, same question.
Can you repeat the question one more time, please?
Absolutely. What are your ideas for addressing infrastructure needs as your city works to comply with the Growth Management Act requirements?
Thank you very much. So, one of the most important things here is we need to make sure that we implement into the municipal code project labor agreements. Part of doing any of this future projects, we need to get good union paying jobs to do it so that we have quality work that gets done. Now, part of that is not just getting those union jobs, but it is making sure that what the city needs is good and will last for a long time. And so we need to look for that and make sure that we're always planning for the future.
Thank you. Candidate Kemp, your thoughts on this question?
Yeah, I'm actually going to agree with, a lot with what RJ said. I'm glad I live in a city where this city thinks ahead and budgets out for these projects. We also spend a lot of time searching for grants from the state, making sure we have the proper improvements done to where we live. And I actually have to agree with Mr. Garrett. We need, good craftsmanship out there doing those jobs. And the city does 9 times out of 10 uses union labor to repair our roads or to increase the size of our infrastructure or the street lighting or anything like that. And most of that stuff's already in place. But it's the fact that our leadership already, the mayor and the city council, has already looked ahead at these projects years, 5, 6 years in advance and noticed these need to be done in this certain amount of time. This is the type of budget that we need to have. So I hope to continue to work with that process.
Okay, thank you. Candidate Cantu, we'll start with you here. What changes, if any, would you like to see concerning how the city is run? You're muted. Okay.
Okay. Sorry about that. So one of the things I would like to see is when people are wanting to do business and they need to get things going, instead of looking at our constituents as constituents in these manners, be like customer service. Like, I want to be the best customer service I can to my customer and help them to get their permits and get what's needed and necessary for them. So that's kind of just one of my thoughts and something that I would like to implement myself.
Thank you. Candidate Whitlow, your thoughts?
I think the biggest change that I'd like to see isn't necessarily changing how the city of Marysville government works, but I'd love to diligently encourage more people to participate in it. The fact that I'm sitting here, this wasn't on my bingo card even 2 months ago, but I was encouraged to, if I wanted input to continue, I should put my hat in the ring because I care about this community deeply. And one of the most frustrating things I have when I talk to people is either whether they agree with what's happening or don't agree, a lot of them still don't want to take the time to participate. So if we could spend time, if I was in a position where I am in city government and serving in that capacity, I would really love to encourage a lot more collaboration of making sure that we get out and spend time with people on collaborative projects and not just in committee type settings where we can really convince people that local participation is the most effective participation in government. That's where we should be. We should all be involved. We should all care about our community and we should commit in that regard. And that's what I would change, if anything.
Thank you. Candidate Garrett, your thoughts?
So I talked about project labor agreements last question. Besides that, I think we need to focus on our education system. City council doesn't have control over the school district, but could and should be active partners in making sure our elementary and secondary schools are well ran, well funded, and providing the best possible education for our young people. And so we need to start at the beginning and work up, make sure that they are ready for the future with those programs like the RAP program I've mentioned before, and then get them into those unions, get them in those good paying jobs.
Thank you. Candidate Kemp, your thoughts?
I mean, overall, I think Marysville's doing a great job already. One of the things I do see is communication. As like RJ mentioned, a lot of the community members don't get involved. And a lot of the reasons that is because they don't know about it. We used to have the Marysville Globe. They used to, put out information all the time about what the city was doing, what it was going on. Sometimes our residents hear about things, developments, zone changes, and stuff like that after the fact. We actually need more participation from the local citizens in Marysville. It's one of the reasons I'm running is, because I wanted to have a voice. I wanted to have a say. And if elected, maybe I can get out there, like RJ was saying, get more involved in the community than I am and let people know, hey, this is going on. Your voice matters.
Thank you. Candidate Perkins, same question.
Yeah, engagement. Engagement is number one for me as well. I mean, the experts on what needs to be done to improve the city are really all of the residents of the city. And so creating opportunities, I think there's a lot can be done proactively from the neighborhood or from the individual level, but I think also that the city can continue to create opportunities for that. In 2023, the city of Marysville had neighborhood meetings where they met with separately different pairs of neighborhoods. We were divided into 11 different neighborhoods. They met with groups of neighborhoods and talked specifically about the issues that are going to be affecting those neighborhoods and looked for feedback. I think that's something that should be ongoing. I'd like to see that go on from year to year, and I'd like to see more representation from every neighborhood and just hear their voices. So yeah, that's number one for me.
Thank you. Well, we've come to our final question, and we're going to start with candidate Garrett with this one, and I hope you have fun with it. Please tell us something about your life experience that might surprise or intrigue voters.
Well, thank you. So I wanted to really just talk here about why I am doing this. I really do believe that everyone should get more involved, and that as some people have said, your voice does matter. And so we do need to come together and do that. What brought me into this is going to other events and seeing that not everyone was there. And if you really want to change, show up and make the change happen. And so I am a proud union member, and I want to fight for the city like I fight for fellow union members. And so please vote for me if you want me. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Perkins, same question.
Yeah, thank you. Just I'm sitting here in the extra bedroom of my daughter's house. We're here visiting because she just hours ago she had uh, a child, our second grandchild, and so we just had a delightful evening here holding that little baby. But I also want to share that daughter, she's my oldest, and she just brilliant kid. You know, everybody says that about their own children, but she out of high school went to college, and then right out of college decided to start her own business. And she has a great, successful business, has over 80 employees, and she's a great boss and employer. And she's just really built a little community in her business. But the question I have that bugs me is that business is running in some other community, and I have to ask, why isn't it in Marysville? And there's something that didn't happen there that should have put her in the community she grew up and really would have loved to have had a business in. And so some changes need to take place there.
Thank you. Candidate Kemp, your thoughts?
Thanks, Nadine. So I started this journey 6 to 8 years ago as a challenge to our members in our local union to get involved. And nobody stepped up. And I says, look, I'm going to do it. And I started this pathway. So here I am again. Fun fact, I'm a local musician who performs regularly at local establishments. I've been doing this over 20 years as a hobby. So that's been a lot of fun in my life. I'm hoping I get a chance to work with the city council. I've been endorsed by Local 191. Time? I'm
Yep.
sorry?
Sorry about that.
Oh, I've been endorsed by Local 191 in the Northwest Washington Building Trades and several city council members.
Candidate Kemp, that was it.
Oh, it said 15 still. I'm sorry.
Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry. Well, I must have lost it. I'm so sorry.
That's okay. I'm done.
Okay. Thank you. Candidate Cantu.
Well, I am the 6th generation direct granddaughter of Chief Seattle, and we both share a lot of the same vision to serve our people, our community, be peacemakers, and everything that I do in my life revolves around serving my community, bringing reconciliation. I recently had a global gathering where we had tribal on tribal reconciliation. So yeah, that's and I like to bring awareness. I'm involved in a local a television series that is bringing awareness to missing, murdered Indigenous women, trafficking of children, and drugs, and what it does to communities. And so, my life's work is really just to bring healing and reconciliation to communities.
Thank you. Candidate Whitlow, your answer, please.
So I guess when we're asking about something surprising or intriguing, there's I too actually I was 25-year professional musician, and that's what I did. I traveled around the world. I was blessed to see 35 countries and 6 continents and get to experience other cultures and see how they relate to our culture. And it taught me a lot of valuable perspective about a couple of things. One, not only that cultural aspect and how we see ourselves in the world, but also taught me something really amazing. That was the teamwork aspect. And anything of excellence and beauty is usually because you're willing to come together as a team and create something that's greater than yourself. And in this regard, it might be the biggest surprise is the fact that I'm actually on this Zoom call tonight and as a candidate, because this, like I say, it's something that I didn't anticipate, but I feel it's a calling. I felt nudged with the people who reached out to me and asked me to put my hat in the ring. And I feel like this is a logical extension of what we're already trying to do in the community. So thank you for the opportunity, and I look forward to earning your vote.
Thank you. And Candidate Perkins, I appreciate your grace. I'm sorry I blew the timer. Thank you so much. The League thanks these candidates for joining us and for running for office. We encourage our audience to explore additional information about these and all candidates. Recordings of all League forums are available on the League of Women Voters of Snohomish County website, on YouTube, and on podcast channels. Find links at lwvsnoho.org. If you prefer written responses, vote 411.org. Sponsored by the League, is another good source of information. Ballots and your Snohomish County voter pamphlet will be mailed starting Thursday, July 17th. Election Day is Tuesday, August 5th. Please be a voter. Thank you to our League Candidate Forum team and the Candidate Forum Coalition. Special thanks to Dave Moon and the Salton School students at turkpride.tv who made this production possible. And of course, thank you all for joining us. This concludes our Candidate Forum.